It's been funny to me this off season, because these Eagle rivals, their fan bases, well, most of their fan bases, not all of them, but a lot of them, they have consistently talked about only one thing. Carson Wentz won't be healthy next year. Carson Wentz can't stay healthy. Carson Wentz isn't even healthy right now going into OTAs 6 months after his injury. He's injury prone. And it seems like that they have really pinned their hopes on the fact that Carson Wentz can't stay healthy. This is their hope on how they beat the Eagles. Well, guess what? Those fan bases, they should be very worried. They should be very worried because Carson Wentz is ready to go.
Still the cowboy, Mr. McLean. You Americans are all alike. But this time, John Wayne doesn't walk into the sunset with Grace Kelly. Scary Cooper, asshole. Oh shit! That was crazy!
Happy trails, Hans.
Dallas still stinks.
Yo, everybody, how you doing? King Dingbat here, and I hope everybody's having a wonderful Monday, a great start to their week. I am very, very, very disgusted with myself. Yes, I am. I'm disgusted with myself. As you see, this beautiful Deshaun Jackson jersey is up. I said, okay, you know what? I've cut out sugar the last few weeks. I've been doing my babyface assassin boxing. I'm getting ready to try to get in shape so I can fit in this jersey before the start of the season. Well, I tried to put it on today, and that thing is tight. That thing is really tight on me. I got a long way to go. So I have this jersey up to remind me as motivation that I got to get into that jersey before kickoff, before this season begins. I need that jersey on and loose on me. Now, if I don't do a good job, I want all of you guys to double moonwalk my ass. That's right. You have to be the jury and the executioner of my ass when it comes to that. I have to get into that thing before the first game of the season. So I'm on the clock. So anyways, I got it up there to remind me. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing real good when it comes to some Eagles news because we have a little bit. Now, it's minor news, but it's good news nonetheless. Now, as many of you guys know, this is the time of year for OTAs. OTAs are starting for the Eagles tomorrow. It's started for some teams already. And, the one thing about OTAs is it's fun to see the guys get on the field with the rookies and they start to get work in and you kind of start to hear about some guys. And sometimes the hype is way too much. You hear about how great a guy looks in shorts and things like that, and we look way too much into it. I do it all the time. I'm guilty of it all the time, So as cool as it is to see the guys out there running around, practicing, making it feel like the season's just around the corner, there are some things that you have to worry about when it comes to OTAs, okay? For instance, you have to be worried about injuries. Sometimes these guys, they go out, even though they're running around in shorts or whatever, and something bad can happen. Take, for example, today. Reuben Foster of the Washington Redskins was carted off the field after just 3 plays. After just 3 plays, he hurts his knee, he's carted off the field. They could lose him for the season. Who knows? I hope for the Redskins, I hope for Reuben Foster's sake, I hope he's okay. I hope it's nothing serious. But this has happened many times before to many other teams, and this is something that I always worry about. I especially worry about this kind of stuff with like my wide receivers, my running backs. You just hate to see something happen this time of year. And when it does happen this time of year and somebody gets hurt in OTs, it's very hard to replace them because you've had free agency has passed. The draft has passed, and unless you're going to go out and make a trade or something, it's very hard to get a quality person that you could, equal to who you're losing on the field. So it's a scary time, OTAs, in my opinion, even though they're not hitting each other, it's not physical, they're in shorts. It's still, you hate to see anything like that happen. And look, if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, and they're going to hate me for saying this, but this is the truth. This time of year, from OTAs to training camp, is scary for them for a whole nother reason. For a whole nother reason if you're a Cowboy fan, because every time, or it seems like every year, this time of year, or from now to camp, it seems like a Dallas Cowboy player or two get in trouble. They always seem to get in trouble this time of year, and it just so happens that Zeke Elliott just got in a little bit of trouble in Las Vegas. Now, he wasn't arrested, he wasn't charged, but they put him in handcuffs, took him away. Apparently, he was in a shoving match with somebody, some sort of altercation. Now, maybe it wasn't his fault, who knows? But this is something that seems like it happens to the Dallas Cowboys more so than any other team in the National Football League. Every year at this time, it seems like somebody's getting in trouble. Now, are they picked on more, as my man, shout out to Mark Holmes, would say? Maybe, but maybe they just get in trouble more. You know what I mean? They are the Dallas Cowboys, you know what I mean? Satanic star on the helmet, you know what I'm saying? But in all seriousness, no, you hate to see anybody get in trouble. You hate to see anything that disrupts your team before you go into the season, you know, and injuries, guys get in trouble. It could be a little bit of a scary time, you know. And for the Eagles, we do have some breaking news with them regarding their OTAs going into tomorrow, because their OTAs start tomorrow. Ian Rappaport is reporting that Carson Wentz is medically cleared to do all the drills, to practice, to do whatever the Eagles want him to do, and he's going to take part in most, if not all, of OTAs. The Eagles may limit certain things, just precautionary, just because they don't want to overdo it with him, but he is cleared, he is healthy, and he is ready to go. And you know what I've been saying for weeks, because we've been having these discussions. Is Carson Wentz going to be healthy for OTAs? I've heard my man Mark Holmes, he loves reporting how the Eagles OTAs of Carson might miss it and he's back and blah, 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 blah. Carson Wentz is ready to go. Ready to go. You give my man Carson Wentz OTAs, you give him training camp, you give him preseason, he is going to double moonwalk the league's ass. And I'm excited. And I think this is worth reporting and talking about, because it's been a big issue whether or not Carson Wentz is ready to go for OTAs. I said I thought he would. I said I wouldn't put much stock into Doug Peterson, how he acted last week. And sure enough, Carson Wentz is ready to go for OTAs. So I'm going to be watching closely as the OTAs take place. I want to hear all about it. I love this kind of stuff. I buy into it. I get hyped for guys. Yeah, no, I'm just a fan. I'm just a fan at the end of the day. And I can't help myself. I can't. I love hearing about who looks good, who doesn't look good. It's so much fun to me. It really is. And the one problem I have with OTAs is that, you know, it makes it seem like the season's right around the corner, but it's really still a long ways off. And you got OTAs now, you'll have some in June, and then they'll break for that whole month. And it just seems like you're going through the whole off season again. But the important thing today that I'm very excited and happy about is not that I gotta lose a lot of weight to fit in a jersey, but it's that Carson Wentz is cleared for OTAs. That means his back is ready to go, and I love it. I hope you guys do too. This is a very, very good sign for the Eagles. So one of the other things I wanted to talk about today was Sidney Jones. Now, he has come up a ton since I did my video on Derek Barnett, talking about, you know, how I think Derek Barnett needs to have a breakout year. And a lot of people mention that they also think Sidney Jones needs to have a big year this year. And I agree with them. I think he needs to show us something. But what has surprised me was the amount of people who really think he's a bust, who think that he just stinks. And it just really shocked me, and I wanted to come on here and give you my take on Sidney Jones, where I'm at with him, what I think of him, and you know, kind of just how I see it. You know, Sidney Jones, when he was coming out of the draft, he was a top 10 talent. Before his injury, he was slated in almost every mock draft to go top 10. I think Mayock even might have had him over Marshawn Lattimore, who went to the Saints. He had him like above him, okay? He was viewed as a shut-down corner coming out of college, top 10 pick. And if you would have told me that the Eagles would have got him in the first round, I would have been thrilled with that pick, okay? But then he tears his Achilles. He falls to the second. The Eagles take him. And look, they could have took a running back like Mixon or somebody like that. But they took Sidney Jones and they sat him the following year, which was smart. I thought you need to sit him all year, let him recover. I think he wound up playing in the last game. He played a little bit, not really that much, not enough to get his feet wet. He came back, this past season. He only played in 9 games. He was still injured. He was battling injury. He had hamstring injuries, all these kind of things. And the way I see it, because he wasn't good at time. Early on in the season, I thought he did show something, but for the most part, I didn't think he was that good. And I think a lot of people didn't think he was that good. But the way I see it, I see Sidney Jones as a guy who just finished his rookie year. He just finished his rookie year, in my opinion. I don't count when a guy sits on the sideline and watches. I don't count that as a really a rookie year in learning experience. That's why when it comes to the NBA, I think a guy who's injured the first year should still be able to be a rookie of the year the following year when he plays, because I think playing on the field, being on the field, and watching are 2 different things. Now, you can learn a lot from being on the sideline and stuff, but sometimes it takes a while to apply it. Sometimes you have to get used to the speed of the game, the way the game changes. The speed of football, the NFL to college, is tremendous. So if Sidney Jones is sitting on the sideline watching all year, then he's trying to apply these things that he learned, and he's going in and playing these games where it's much faster pace than what he's used to. It's going to take time, okay? And then for him to only play in 9 games, I think he only started 4. It's not enough games. It's not enough games to get under his belt where things can start slowing down and he can progress. So I really think that we need to be patient with Sidney Jones, because I think the talent is there. I think the guy is definitely talented. He is now going to be 2 years removed from that Achilles, and he should be ready to go this coming season. He should be free of injuries. Hopefully his hamstring or whatever nagging injuries he had last year is gone, and he's ready to go. I expect Sidney Jones to take a big jump. Now, when I say I think Sidney Jones makes a big jump, what I'm specifically saying that I think Sidney Jones is going to do this year is I think he's going to wind up playing good enough to win the starting position job at corner. Now, he can play in the slot. He can play on the outside. It's going to be interesting to see where the Eagles move him and put him. But I think the fact that he's a second-round pick, the fact that before his injury he was a top 10 talent, and the fact that, I still think he's very talented, I think you want him on the outside. And I think that by the end of the year, I expect him to have won that outside starting corner position. Maybe it'll be a situation where they know that they're going to lose Ronald Darby. He's outplayed Ronald Darby. You make that switch during the season, and then you're going to let Darby walk. He's going to take over. I like Avonte Maddox on the other outside position. Then you have backup guy like Rasul Douglas, who personally, I think he's a safety. I'm going to keep saying this until one day they move him. And if you guys did, you by the way, see Rasul Douglas, he is jacked up, man. He don't look like no corner. He looks like a safety. I mean, it would be really interesting if he comes in all jacked up like he's going to. And if that was all planned because they want to move him to safety. I'm just saying, I'm not saying they're going to do it, but I'm saying I would love it. I think he should be. I'd love to get him out there on the field all the time because I think he's a ball hawk. But I think Sidney Jones, though, in terms of him, I think he wins the outside starting job this year. And I think we got to be a little bit patient with him because he really, for all intents and purposes, he had a rookie year last year and he only played 9 games. He didn't even play in all 16 games. So I think that his progression year 2 to 3 is where you're going to see him actually make a jump as long as he can stay healthy. He had a hamstring injury last year and some other stuff. And he just needs to stay healthy. But I think if he wins that starting job this year, that's a really, really good sign, and that would be acceptable progression, in my opinion, for Sidney Jones. But I am not giving up on him yet. I am far from giving up on him. I think he is going to be a good player in this league. He's too talented. He just needs time. We have to be a little bit patient with him. I mean, you remember, the Eagles were very patient with Brandon Graham for years. They were very patient with Nelson Aguilar, who imploded several times, and they still didn't give up on him, and that paid dividends. I think the same thing with Sidney Jones. I think Sidney Jones is going to show us something this year. He's going to wind up becoming that starter, and I really like Avonte Maddox, too, to start at the other outside corner position. So with that said, tell me what your thoughts on Sidney Jones with Carson Wentz cleared for OTAs, even though he may not do every drill and they may hold him back here or there. He is clear, he is healthy, he is ready to go, and I'm excited about it. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. And don't be a dingbat. I gotta go, my eyes are killing me. It's the allergies, man. It's the allergies.